Jonathan Brackett was last seen on August 1st, 2009, near a wooded area in Surf City, North Carolina, where he was visiting relatives. Jonathan, originally from Carolina Beach, was with some carnival workers from his hometown when he disappeared. Before he went missing, he had told a friend he wouldn't be working the next day because he was leaving. Jonathan also told his mother he planned to join the military and was in a good mood, despite being on probation. His family seriously doubts he would have left before completing the probation. Despite several searches and little to go on, his case remains unsolved.
In 1987, Stephen Small, an heir to a publishing and media fortune in Illinois, fell victim to a strange kidnapping ordeal. Held at gunpoint, he was buried alive underground in a wooden box. His captors, Danny Edwards and Nancy Risch, demanded a hefty $1 million ransom from Small's family. Despite attempts by Small's family to comply with the ransom demands, communication with the kidnappers was fraught with difficulties. The police struggled to decipher garbled and unclear messages, leaving them with little to work on. The investigation took a grim turn when Small's Mercedes was found near the burial site. Inside the box where Small was buried, authorities uncovered a scene of horror. Although Edwards and Risch had provided Small with basic provisions such as an oxygen tube, water, a torch, candy bars, and gum, tragically, his breathing tube failed, resulting in suffocation. In the aftermath, Edwards and Risch were swiftly brought to justice and sentenced to life in prison for their horrible crimes.
In 1925, Ruth Snyder and her secret beau, Judd Gray, faced the age-old dilemma of a spouse who was in the way. Their solution? Well, it was spectacularly terrible. So Ruth convinces her husband Albert to boost their life insurance. A $48,000 jackpot. That would be roughly $690,000 in today's money. And guess what? That doubled if death came via unexpected violence. I bet that underwriter lost their job. And wouldn't you know it, poor Albert meets his demise by a garret and a face full of chlorophyll, all staged as a failed robbery. Pretty clever, right? But our masterminds overlooked a tiny detail. You see, during the investigation, a letter with the initials JG was among Albert's possessions. Turns out, it's a secret love letter that Albert's kept all this time. The initials were for his old flame. Ain't that some shit? So when the law asked Ruth, who's JG? Ruth clearly wasn't in on the joke and panicked. Turns out, the cops hadn't even heard of Jude Gray until the moment Ruth started singing. And there you have it, wouldn't you know it? Ruth's confession, thanks to that letter, led both her and Judd straight to jail. Just goes to show you, don't do the crime if you ain't got time. Don't do it. Sarah Ray Boem, a 14-year-old female teen, was reported missing by her parents on July 14, 1994, to local law enforcement in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Several months later, on November 4, 1994, Sarah's remains were discovered in the Berlin Reservoir, located within an Ohio state park in Portage County, Ohio. This rural community in Ohio was located approximately 2 hours away from the victim's home in Pennsylvania. Additionally, Kathryn Menedez, another female teen victim, went missing on August 25, 1994. Her body was found several days later on an oil road near the Berlin Reservoir. Kathryn had been strangled. Both Sarah and Kathryn's bodies were located approximately half a mile apart in the same Ohio State Park. 17-year-old Kathryn was from Portage County, Ohio. Information is being sought in both cases. Investigators do believe both cases could be related.
It's a mystery that's haunted a local family for 27 years. In 1994, 14-year-old Sarah Boem left her Beaver County home never to be seen again. New at 6:30, KDK investigator Andy Sheehan retraces the twists and turns of Sarah's mysterious disappearance.
And he uncovers new revelations that could finally solve the case.
On a July night in 1994, a 14-year-old Sarah Boem left her troubled home in Rochester Township, saying she was sleeping over at a friend's. She was never seen again, leaving only this note for her parents to find under her pillow, addressed to whoever cares.
I'm just a burden. I create problems. I've already learned you don't have time for me.
27 years later, it's a source of hurt for Sarah's uncle, Kevin Boem.
Poor little girl that wasn't happy at home, wasn't getting what she needed. The love and support that she needed.
For years, her disappearance remained a mystery with few, if any, leads. But Beaver County Detective Andy Gall believed this was more than a runaway who never returned.
All the detectives felt that we're dealing with a homicide case.
Because Sarah's home life was troubled, Gall's suspicions fell on her family. Her parents were divorcing, the family concedes, because her father Jack was an alcoholic with a gambling problem. A few years after Sarah's disappearance, police arrested and convicted him for sexually assaulting another 12-year-old girl. Detectives believe they had their man, but after a few years of grilling Jack Boem, they cleared him in his daughter's disappearance.
On a TV show, it would have been Jack right away. He molests another young lady. There's some connection. At the very end, I don't think anybody really believes that Jack had anything to do with it.
I asked him on his deathbed if he had anything to tell me and about Sarah or anything. And he says, no, I just want to find my daughter.
The family pointed to Sarah's note, which mentioned a possible rendezvous with an abusive man she had met.
I met a guy who gave me love and whatever else I was not getting at home. He was a very, very abusive man.
9 years after Sarah's disappearance came the big break, though not the one detectives had hoped. Searching a database of unidentified homicide victims, Detective Kim Clements saw this sketch of a girl found dead in a secluded wooded area in Portage County, Ohio, an hour and 15-minute drive from Beaver County. Hunters found the girl 4 months after Sarah left home, and she bore a striking resemblance. All that time, she had not been identified, but DNA tests would confirm that it was, in fact, Sarah Boem.
It's bittersweet, obviously. You wanted to see this kid come home alive and well with an explanation as to why she left.
The medical examiner determined someone brutally murdered Sarah, but the discovery came with another disturbing twist. Just months before, police had discovered the body of another young woman in the same woods about a half-mile away. It was 17-year-old Kathryn Menedez, found strangled and sexually assaulted, giving the Boem case a whole new dimension.
Does this not tell you that this is a serial murderer, a serial child predator?
We can never assume, but that certainly put us in that direction.
Since that time, detectives have focused on finding one person responsible for both killings, someone who possibly had ties to both areas. In our interview, Detective Gall let us in on a possible breakthrough, a strong person of interest.
We have a particular person who's due to take a polygraph here very soon that spent time here in Beaver County and a time in Portage County during that period of time.
Detectives say he's already serving time in prison.
Does he have a conviction involving indecent sexual relations?
I'd rather not say that just yet, but you'll be the first person I'll tell afterwards.
Gall, who is nearing retirement, says he won't until that's done.
She's with me all the time, and we're gonna get him.
Well, it's been a long road for family members who want to clear their brother Jack's name and, more importantly, find Sarah's killer. We will keep you updated on any developments in this case, which investigators say they are committed to solving. Andy Sheehan, KDKA News.
A Fort Bragg paratrooper goes missing. His head washes ashore 6 days later.
Welcome to Bucklesbury Lemonade, where dark tales are whispered in the shadows of the night.
Strange history, true crime,
Creepy apparitions.
Gary Crypton, something, someone is watching.
We're going to turn now to the investigation into the gruesome death of an Army paratrooper from Fort Bragg. He disappeared during a Memorial Day camping trip with fellow soldiers on the Outer Banks. His dismembered body washing up days later, and the key detail his family wants investigators to know tonight. And news this evening that the Army is now offering a $25,000 reward. Here's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, weeks after his brutal killing, the grief-stricken family of slain Army paratrooper Enrique Roman Martinez demanding answers.
It was so cruel what they did to him. Like, why did they have to do that to him?
The 21-year-old mysteriously vanishing from a Memorial Day weekend camping trip with fellow Fort Bragg soldiers near South Core Banks, North Carolina.
And when was the last time you saw him? So we all went to bed at 12:03, and that is the last time he saw him.
The Army saying Roman Martinez was last seen May 22nd, wearing just blue shorts. His friends reporting him missing about 19 hours later. His phone and wallet left at the campsite. A week later, his dismembered remains discovered washed up. His death ruled a homicide. His sister says something just doesn't add up.
My brother can't see without his glasses. So for him to walk out in the middle of the night without his glasses, it's not likely.
The commanding general for the 82nd Airborne Division saying his unit is in mourning, writing, "We will not stop in our pursuit to bring those responsible
Enrique
to justice."
Roman Martinez enlisted in the United States Army, seeking discipline and responsibility. After completing his training, he was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina as a human resources specialist. In May of 2020, Specialist Roman Martinez embarked on a Memorial Day weekend camping trip to Cape Lookout National Seashore with 7 other soldiers. On the night of the 22nd, he vanished without a trace. The following morning, his companions raised the alarm, claiming they had been searching for him all day. However, their account was riddled with inconsistencies, including a delayed 911 call and no mention of a missing person during an encounter with a park ranger. A 10-day search ensued, but Specialist Roman Martinez remained elusive. Tragically, his decapitated head was discovered on the shore of Shackelford Banks Island, bearing a peculiar crescent-shaped wound. His body has never been recovered.
Martinez's family vehemently denies any suicidal tendencies, casting further doubt on the official narrative. They've hired a private investigator and have tirelessly pursued answers, only to be met with a wall of silence from the Army and the soldiers involved. In November 2021, the case was regulated to a cold case status, leaving specialist Roman Martinez's family grappling with an agonizing mystery. A year later, 3 soldiers were arrested for offenses related to the disappearance, but no charges directly linked them to Special Roman Martinez's death. Their court-martial proceedings centered on drug use, conspiracy, violating orders, making false statements, and breaking contact orders. To this day, the circumstances surrounding Specialist Roman Martinez's disappearance and death remain shrouded in ambiguity. His family continues to seek justice, yearning for closure and a definite explanation for the tragic loss of their loved. Let's stop for a minute. Let's make this real for you, the viewer. Roman was a human being. He loved his family. He loved his country. He loved playing video games. He loved people and wanted to further his education to help people suffering with PTSD. Roman needs to be remembered not just as a homicide victim, but as a person who started his journey to shine a light in this world to make it a better place. Rest in peace, Specialist Enrique Roman Martinez. Thank you for your service. May justice be served and your family given some form of comfort. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you have any information about this case, contact Army CID Special Agents at 1-910-396-8777 and the Fort Bragg Military Police Desk at 1-910-396-1179.
New questions this morning about a teenager who claims to be a satanic serial killer responsible for more than 20 murders. Investigators are now saying that her story cannot be verified. Here's ABC's Mara Schiavocampo.
Miranda, did you really kill 22 people?
Tuesday, 19-year-old Miranda Barbour briefly met with local officials in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, but she did not provide any information about her shocking claims of being a serial killer. In an explosive jailhouse interview with a local newspaper last week, the newlywed and young mom confessed to killing, quote, less than 100 people in several states, starting at just 13 when she joined a satanic cult, saying, quote, when I hit 22, I stopped counting.
She looked at me, dead square in the eyes and said this so matter-of-factly that if I were in law enforcement, I would take it seriously.
And they are. Authorities in California, North Carolina, Alaska, and Pennsylvania have already started looking for any evidence to verify those chilling claims.
Our investigators have been in contact with law enforcement officers from other states and with the FBI.
Barbour and her husband of just 3 weeks, 22-year-old Elliot Barbour, are being held without bail. Police say the couple murdered a Pennsylvania man they lured on Craigslist simply for fun. This week, Barbour's attorney reportedly filed paperwork asking she be spared the death penalty. Officials in Alaska and Pennsylvania note that so far in their states, they have not been able to verify any of Barbour's claims. She'll be in court again for a pretrial hearing next week. And we should note that both Miranda Barbour and her husband have pleaded not guilty to the Craigslist murder.
Miranda Barbour claimed that at the age of 13, she was involved in her first murder, which was a gangland-style execution that took place in a dimly lit alley somewhere in Anchorage, Alaska. Allegedly under the influence of a leader from a satanic cult, she shot a man who had failed to repay a debt. During this time, she was already grappling with a heroin addiction and becoming increasingly involved in the cult's activity. However, her life seemed to take a different turn when the court ordered her to live with her uncle in North Carolina, and it appeared as though she might return to a more normal life. It was in North Carolina that Miranda met Elliot Barbour, whom she would later marry. Together they made the disturbing decision to plan a murder in the hopes that it would strengthen their bond. On November 1st, 2013, at the age of 18, Miranda Barbour placed a Craigslist personal ad seeking men who expressed resentment towards their spouses. It didn't take long for her to receive a response from Troy LaFleur, a 42-year-old man. They agreed to meet on the night of November the 11th, and they had a prearranged signal. Miranda was to utter the phrase, "Do you see the stars tonight?" At which point Elliot would emerge from his hiding place in the back seat and subdue the man. As planned, Elliot placed a cord around Troy's neck and strangled him, which Miranda then unalived him more than 20 times. Afterwards, they disposed of the victim's body in an alley, cleaned the car, and celebrated with a dinner outing. Both of them were apprehended by law enforcement the following day. While in prison, Miranda made an astonishing claim. She stated she had killed more than 22 people in various states. However, these assertions were met with skepticism, and few people took her claims seriously. So did she commit all these crimes?
Elliot, Miranda said she killed 22 people. Do you believe her?
I plead the fifth.
Do you think she's being honest?
Who's to say?
My, that's Elliot Barbour reacting to questions about murders his wife has admitted to committing months after the murders. His wife, Miranda Barbour, is now telling a newspaper she has no regrets. Tonight, reporter Andrew Spencer tells us why Barbour says she should be kept where she is, behind bars.
A woman accused of luring a man to his death says she's killed dozens of times before.
I said, what's the actual number? And she said, under 100.
Francis Scarcella, a reporter for the Daily Item in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, finally got his jailhouse interview with Miranda Barbour on Friday. He says Barbour floored him with claims of killing dozens of people starting when she was just 13 years old, with victims in Alaska, Texas, California, and North Carolina.
I said, Miranda, you know, as you sit here, do you have any remorse whatsoever? And she said, none.
The now 19-year-old Barbour and her husband have entered not guilty pleas in a separate case. Police say the newlywed Barbours just wanted to kill someone together, so they found 42-year-old Troy LaFerrera through a companionship ad on Craigslist. In November, LaFerrera's body was found in the backyard of a home in Sunbury. Police say he had been strangled and stabbed 20 times. The last number dialed from his cell phone led police to the Barbours. Scarcella says Miranda Barbour claims to have only killed those she considered bad people. The self-proclaimed Satanist claims to have killed fewer than 100, having stopped counting at 22.
You know, you can take all of everything else that she said in the interview, and you can take all of the numbers that she threw around and all of that out. But the more surprising thing to me would be the fact that she said that if she got out, she would do it again.
Whether Barbour's claims of killing dozens of people are actually true, it's hard to say. Investigators say they're looking into it. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Miranda Barbour also says she just wants to stop living a lie and that it doesn't matter if anyone believes her or not.
Frankie Darlene Horsley vanished from Fayetteville, North Carolina on March 10, 1983. She left to go to the pharmacy to pick up medicine for her sick son, but never returned. A week later, her locked car was discovered abandoned on Interstate 20 in South Carolina, heading toward Georgia. Inside were some of her clothes, but the keys were missing. Separated from her son's father, Frankie has endured a tragic past, having lost her mother in a car accident during her youth. She was raised by her aunt and uncle. They also adopted and cared for her son. The circumstances of her disappearance are deeply unsettling. Family attests that Frankie would have reached out if she could have. Yet, she vanished without a trace, leaving behind a haunting mystery that remains unsolved to this day.